Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So yeah, today's quite a wild day, so let's just get right into it. If you enjoyed the video, whatever, don't forget to hit that like button, but let's discuss what the hell just happened today. So Tesla, I mean, pretty much the market in general, but Tesla definitely underperforming, down 9.22%, which is honestly higher than I expected. I did say today I wouldn't be surprised to see a red day. I'll admit, I don't think it'll be this bad. I thought it would be probably... So essentially the QQQ was down 2.64%, which means that Tesla should have been down maybe 5.5%-ish, right, give or take. So clearly underperforming by a decent margin, by at least like 4%, I would say, roughly, give or take, which isn't good. So let's talk about, what happened. Like, is this bad? Like, is this over? Is it, that's it? Are we fucked? Blah, blah, blah. What happened? So I'm not gonna lie, not the greatest thing in the world. What I was hoping for was, when we closed here, that we would drop down to maybe like, maybe around 750 to 740, somewhere in that range, and bounce up. If we did that, that means the move down would have been roughly almost like 4.5%, which is kind of what I would expect, actually, because then that would have been in line with the QQQ being down, what it is right now, which, Tesla usually is about double-ish the movement of the QQQ, whether it's, down or up. That actually would have been in line pretty well. But today, of course, we had more, Elon, I guess, drama, if you will, where he talked about how, on top of the whole work from home versus coming into the office 40 hours a week, and today he said how they're going to be essentially cutting out about 10% of certain types of employees. I think management specifically, not like people that actually build the cars and whatnot, and factory or like battery workers, all that stuff, or like manufacturing, and none of that kind of stuff. Anyways, the point is that there was like a whole bunch of drama, so I feel like that's definitely weighing on the stock a little bit today. But nonetheless, I still don't think it's that bad. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I will admit again, it was definitely sharper than I expected. I didn't think we would drop. I thought we would drop about maybe honestly half of this amount. But it's not all over. And the reason I say it's not all over is because, well, like I said, for the past few days, my most important target that I want to see hold is 700, and like 680 is probably the last line of defense in my opinion. But like, I personally wouldn't want to get there, if that makes sense. I personally would prefer to hold 700. But 680, I would still say, is valid to maintain this overall uptrend that we're in, with me being not perfectly happy, but passable, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? But 700 is the ideal scenario to hold, which we did close just above at $703.54. Now, again, I don't think it's all over. I don't think it's, the case to go back to the 800s or whatever is done yet. Again, that only falls apart if we break 700, and especially if we break $680. And the reason that is the case is because, again, this overall to me plays out the formation that we are currently in. Let's go on the 4 hour actually quickly here. So we'll go like this, right? So pretty much the situation that we're currently in right now is, like I said several times, I've been saying this pretty much the whole week actually, but I'll reiterate it one more time, is that we're setting up beautiful patterns. Now the bull flag is essentially kind of weird. This movement was extremely like this was a bait. Like the whole market doing this yesterday and everything, this was such a weird bait. And the reason is also because the market and Tesla, it fell pre-market, like pretty much as pre-market opened at like 4 a.m. Eastern, everything just tanked essentially. So it happened out of like market hours, if you will, which was like very kind of strange and weird. So that's number one. That's the weird part that I find very strange. So this was like a really strange bait that it's just very easy to get trapped, in my opinion. Now, I obviously didn't buy anything here, but I also didn't really sell too much here. I did sell and trim some when it was around like the mid 700s. So I did have cash on the side where, a decent amount, where not a decent amount, but like, enough, I guess, to quantify something. Where I was buying. I started buying pretty much at I think I started nibbling from between 730 to 700. So in this whole range, I've been buying today. Because again, as long as 700 holds, I'm still like not losing hope, I guess, if that makes sense. But pretty much what I thought would happen was, I thought this move would happen here, and then this move would happen here. So if you were to take these two candles, shove them over here, and then take like these three candles and shove them on the right, that's kind of the move I thought would happen. That's what I was expecting to happen. The fact that it happened in this kind of weird reversed order is the part that's kind of making me very like, feel really strange about this. Now, the bright side is we did fill the gap over here. That was at 707, which is a good sign. Now we of course have a massive gap over here at 773, which again can fill, maybe, next week, maybe in a few months, who knows, right? But again, number one, guys, I want you to keep this is extremely important. 700 must hold, ideally, but 680, like absolutely without question must hold in my opinion. If we break 680, that's when things get much less in favor of the bulls to run upwards. But again, so as I was saying several times throughout the week, the reason that I'm okay with this right now is because, again, 700 is still like a very psychological key level. It's a nice level with a lot of support and resistance, whatever. We're also still setting up the cup and handle, right? So we went like this, still setting up the handle. Again, this kind of throws things off and makes things a little bit strange. This makes it a little bit wonky, but nonetheless, it's still more or less here, right? We still have, more importantly, in my opinion, a pattern that I personally like is the inverted head and shoulders. We still have that perfectly set up where essentially, we have the shoulder here, we have the head here, and then we pretty much are now in the shoulder area here. So I wouldn't be surprised if Monday is essentially kind of a consolidation day, and then maybe Tuesday or Wednesday we kind of rally, assuming of course we hold those levels I talked about. That's the most important part. So that's kind of what I'm personally still hopeful for, if that makes sense, and why I'm not like freaking out. I'm not like, I barely even looked at the stock today other than the times where I did buy it, again mainly because I don't really care that much unless those key levels start breaking. That's when I'm going to start showing a sweat or two, let's just say that. So that's kind of the main kind of theory, if you will, behind that. So let's take a quick look at the indicators that I like to use, the Bollinger Band being number one. So yeah, so this was essentially like a false breakout. So this is why it's also really important, and why I have that 3-day rule, where if you break out of something, you want to maintain that breakout. You don't want to just collapse and fall back under like we did today, because that just shows it was a false breakout. And that's not to say that it's over, but it's obviously not a good sign, right? You can't really twist it any other way. That's not ideal. So that's number one. So this was a false breakout. Again, we didn't maintain it. So that's why you don't want to be too greedy when these situations come. That's why I always say, don't be greedy, don't be stupid, be careful, I guess, in this market, because things like this can happen for sure, right? So we're well below, not well below, but we're definitely below the white part of the Bollinger Band, the 732 area right now. So we got kind of rejected there, you can see. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if we consolidate potentially Monday, hopefully hold the 700. Again, 680 being the last chance in my opinion, and then hopefully off of that we bounce up and continue up with a rally here, which I think is still possible. Though I'm not gonna lie, today did make things a little bit bleaker than I would like to see. So that is definitely not ideal, but I still wouldn't say it's over yet. I still think we definitely have a shot. So those are extremely important, guys. And then we can take a look at the 1 hour chart with the Bollinger Band as well. You can see here. So as I was saying, we were getting tighter here, and I really thought that we would go sideways today and then potentially explode upwards. Instead, we had this weird pre-market sell-off, which was unfortunate, but it is what it is, So now we're hovering the bottom side of the Bollinger Band here on the red part, which is fine. I mean, I personally use it as a buying opportunity with probably a stop loss, like not too far under 700, just to be safe. So that's kind of that with the Bollinger Band. Let's take a look at the moving average very quickly here. So we're looking at the 5-day moving average. This is like the very short-term bullish momentum, which I'm assuming we are currently under, which we are very much under at the very moment. That is at 747. We're all the way at 703. So that's obviously not good. So we definitely lost a bit of momentum there. Going to the 10-day moving average, however, we are also just barely below that as well. So again, similar to how, when you break up over here, you don't want to get too excited yet. Same concept here. When you break under like this, you don't want to get too scared yet, in my opinion. It's things like this can happen. Like the market moves extremely volatile, extremely aggressive, etc., etc. So you want to be careful. You want to, assess the situation without emotions. And, if we don't show any signs, essentially, in my opinion, by Wednesday of recovering from this and starting to rally, either A, that happens, or B, we fall under 700 and especially 680. If any of those two situations happen by Wednesday, anytime between essentially, I guess now or Monday and Wednesday, then in my opinion, the bull case is probably thrown out the water, and we're probably going to be heading lower, or at the very least revisiting somewhere down here once again. That's number one. But if we can, number one, maintain 700 and especially 680, but ideally 700, and then start recovering, going back these moving averages, going back the Bollinger Bands, and then breaking out once again from this trend. If we can start showing those kind of signs by ideally Wednesday, I would say, then I think we're definitely still, the game is still on, in my opinion. So that's kind of what I'm currently seeing, guys. Again, it is what it is. Don't get too worried. I mean, the QQQ and the SPY, not the best closes in the world, in my opinion. I would have liked to see a little bit higher, like the SPY. I would have liked to see 411 maybe, but it is what it is. I think we're still kind of, the fact that it's kind of an inside candle like this tells me that the market's still a little bit undecided. It's not really sure what it wants to do here yet. So it might take a few more days, but like I said, I think by Wednesday we'll have a good idea as to whether or not this bull case is going to play out, or we're essentially just going to be falling back down to, maybe 620 again at least. So yeah, that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys. Not a whole lot more to add. It is what it is. Again, make sure you take away emotions. The volume on the day was a little bit, high, 36, almost 37 million on a red day, which isn't the most ideal thing in the world, but it's also Friday. You guys know how I feel about Fridays. That usually means that Mondays tend to follow Friday, so I wouldn't be surprised if Monday might be a red day, so maybe we'll bounce off the 680 on Monday. I wouldn't call that, take that out of the equation, but I'm hoping that maybe Monday is more of a flat day, and we hold 700. That's kind of, at the moment, what I'm hoping for, but other than that, I still, again, wouldn't count out the bull picture yet. I still think we have that final chance, the final shot, but again, those levels are extremely important, and I want to see some kind of bounce and some kind of recovery early next week is essentially my current plan, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Again, hopefully none of you are being too greedy, especially when you see this move. This was a pretty big bait. I'm not gonna lie, it did seem like things are looking great, and then we got smacked down with the market and everything just got completely crushed today. I mean, even Apple was down. Where is it? Even Apple is down almost 4%, which is a decent amount for Apple. So yeah, that's why you don't want to get greedy. That's why you don't want to buy when it's green like this. You want to ideally buy when it's, red, but you also don't want to buy a falling knife. It's a difficult market, to say the least. Let's just say that. But either way, guys, that's it for this video. That's essentially what I'm seeing. Of course, we'll continue updating you on Monday. But again, just so you don't always have to wait for my updates, you can also just look it up for yourselves. And like I said, the easiest way to look at this right now is, again, the 700 level to the 680 level. Those are the main two I'm personally looking at for now, for the downside at least, in terms of breaking away this bull case. But either way, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow, or I guess Monday. Peace.